Have you ever thought about what makes a tough job, well, tough? I bet you have. But what if the hardest part isn't what you think at all? We're going to dive into this amazing story about an old lighthouse keeper, and let me tell you, it completely flips the script on what real consistency is all about. The surprising enemy he faced? It wasn't the storms. It was the calm. I mean, think about it. Just hearing that storms are easy. It kind of makes you stop and go, wait, what? Because we all have this picture in our heads, right? A lone lighthouse keeper, waves crashing, wind howling, some kind of epic, heroic battle. But Silas, our keeper, he scoffs at that. So what if the real challenge, the thing that actually breaks people in his line of work, is something way, way quieter? All right, so let's set the scene. The story kicks off with a hiker just walking along this beautiful coastal trail, and he comes across this old, honest-to-goodness manned lighthouse. That's where he meets Silas. And Silas isn't just any keeper. This guy has kept that same light shining for 50 years. 50! Can you even imagine? Now, you might think Silas is this romantic, sentimental old sea dog. Nope, not at all. He immediately shuts down any of those fairy tale ideas the hiker has about the job. He's like, look, this isn't about staring out at the ocean and thinking deep thoughts. No, this job is all about the grind. It's maintenance, it's routine, it's this constant, never-ending battle against the elements. And here's what that grind actually looks like. It's not the exciting stuff, It's the daily polishing of that massive lens. It's making sure the fuel is always topped up. It's this constant, relentless war with salt and rust, which, trust me, never sleeps when you're by the ocean. This is the real work. It's not glamorous. It's not dramatic. But this is the stuff that actually matters. This is the foundation. And then Silas points to something really important. He says the real heart of the lighthouse isn't even the lamp that you see for miles. No, it's this incredible heavy-duty clockwork mechanism down below. You've got these huge brass gears, polished weights, and he describes this deep, steady thunk, thunk, thunk that it makes. That sound, that's the heartbeat. That's what keeps the light turning night after night. Constant, reliable. Okay, so let's be honest. When you hear lighthouse keeper, where does your mind go? Straight to the storms, right? Just like the hiker in the story. We immediately picture the drama, the crisis. We think, oh, the hardest part of his job has got to be those crazy nights with howling winds and massive waves crashing against the tower. And that's exactly what the narrator does. He starts pushing Silas on this. He's asking, come on, what about the storms? Tell me about the ships you saved, the life or death moments. He's basically searching for the hero story we all want to hear. The one where the brave keeper saves the day. And this slide, this just lays it all out so perfectly. This is the central idea of the whole story. What we think the challenge is, crashing waves, howling wind, saving ships, that's all external chaos. But Silas says the real challenge, that's all internal. It's not the howling wind, it's the dead silence. It's not about saving ships, it's about fighting off that awful feeling that you're totally and completely irrelevant. Because here's the thing Silas makes crystal clear. That light isn't just for emergencies. It doesn't matter if the fog is so thick you can't see your hand in front of your face, or if the sky is perfectly clear. The ships out there, they always need the light, every single night. It's not optional. Its presence is a constant, non-negotiable part of their world. So this is it. This is the turning point. Silas has just taken every single romantic idea about his job and one by one just tossed them aside. He's dismantled the whole myth. And our narrator is just left standing there with one simple, burning question. He just has to ask, right? So what's the hardest part then? I mean, if it's not the storms, if it's not the danger, if it's not even the loneliness, what on earth could it be? What is the real test here? And the answer Silas gives, wow, it's just 2 words, but these 2 words change everything. The quiet nights. Not the loud ones, not the chaotic, dangerous ones. The calm, clear, peaceful nights. That's where the real battle is. All right, let's really dig into that for a second. The quiet nights? How could a clear, calm night possibly be the biggest threat? It sounds crazy, right? Well, the answer has everything to do with our own minds, with human psychology. Think about it. It's one of those nights, the sea is like glass, the moon is full and bright, and you're up there and you start to feel totally irrelevant. That little voice creeps into your head and says, nobody needs this light tonight. What's the point? And right behind that thought comes the big temptation, the temptation to just turn it off, to just stop. And this isn't just some abstract theory either. Silas makes it painfully real. He says he's seen three other keepers quit. And get this, they didn't quit because of the storms. They quit because of the quiet. They couldn't handle that feeling of being pointless. They just gave in. But here's the crucial thing they were missing. Even on a perfectly clear night, there's a ship maybe miles and miles out on the horizon that's using that tiny little speck of your light to double-check its position. The point is, you never know who's out there counting on you, relying on your consistency, even when you feel completely invisible. And that, right there, is the heart of the whole thing. The work isn't about being a hero during a disaster. The work is about the steady, consistent, and sometimes boring job of being there every single night so that no disaster ever happens. It's about prevention, not reaction. So we can boil this whole story down into a powerful idea. Let's call it the lighthouse principle. And this is a big one because it applies to pretty much everything in life, doesn't it? Our jobs, our relationships, our health, you name it. The real test of your commitment isn't when things are hard. It's when they're easy. It's when nobody is watching and you feel like you could just get away with skipping it. Okay, so let's bring this home. Let's make it about us. How does this lighthouse principle actually apply to our lives? Because let's face it, we all have our own lighthouses to keep, right? And we all have those quiet nights. Here's a really simple way to think about it. Step 1, figure out what your quiet nights are. Those are the times when you're tempted to just skip that workout or put half the effort into that report because you're thinking, who's going to notice? Step 2, take a minute to think about your unseen impact. Who are the people, maybe far off on the horizon, who are counting on you to be consistent even if they never say it? And then step 3, the big one, commit to staying consistent, especially on those days when it feels totally pointless. At the end of the day, that's the real lesson here. It's about learning to value that steady, unglamorous, day in, day out effort. That's the real foundation for anything great you want to build, and for being a person that others can count on. It's all about the work you do when the cameras are off and the sea is calm. So I want to leave you with this final thought. The next time you're having one of those quiet nights when you feel like what you're doing is completely irrelevant, I want you to ask yourself this question. Because I promise you, there is always someone, somewhere out on the horizon, who is counting on your light to find their way.